Hi, guys. Good evening, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host, Eddie, and in tonight's video, I will be discussing what I thought of the latest and great episode of Star Trek Discovery, which dropped today on CBS All Access. Man, what an episode! Wow. Before I begin, of course, please be warned this is a spoiler filled review, and this is the conclusion of a two-part episode which began last week and concluded today. So if you're not caught up on last week's episode or today's episode, for God's sake, don't keep watching or listening, because I am going to be discussing some giant, huge ass spoilers. So you have been warned. That being said, let's dive right back into it. First and foremost, hats off to the amazing Michelle Yeoh and Sonequa Martin Green for excellent performances in this episode. Mostly to Michelle Yeoh, but man, Sonequa Martin Green really must have had a hell of a time on this episode, and I mean that in the best way. Just getting to play two completely different characters of the same character that she's established over the course of 3 years. Wow, that must have taken a lot. And this episode had a little bit of everything. There was plenty of heartfelt drama, some excellent character-driven scenes, and then some pretty exciting action sequences. I mean, it was pretty cool and surprising to see the Kelpian slaves helping the Emperor's loyal soldiers take on Michael and her band of traitors in the end there. That was pretty dope. I also loved the fact that they did a callback to that excellent episode from last season when Saru and the other Kelpians discovered that phase of evolution or stage of life, whatever you want to call it, was all a sham that was told to them by that other race of aliens to keep them submissive and under control. And I love the fact that Philippa remembers that and then told it to her universe's version of Saru. It's like, oh, don't worry about that. You're not going to die. You'll be fine. And then that's what earned her his loyalty at that moment. And it was cool, too, how he was the one who was cradling her in her final moments before she died in that universe. Because, when we first met her, she was so aggressive, dismissive, and just offensively racist towards Saru, especially, like, as long as she known him. And over the past 2 seasons now, they came to mutually respect one another, while Philippa would occasionally still make a snide remark his way, but their relationship improved greatly over these past 2 seasons, so that, which I always enjoyed a lot. This episode did an excellent example of what makes good storytelling. Complex characters in appalling situations. Shows like Walking Dead and Game of Thrones have done an excellent job of it, in my opinion, and shows like Star Trek and Star Wars does the exact same thing. You take characters who started off as rather unlikable and hate-filled villains, and you slowly, gradually turn them into much more likable anti-heroes or anti-heroines in Philippa's case. And the thing I loved about this episode was not only the great acting from Michelle Yeoh, but I loved how they just really showed how much she has changed thanks to her relationship with Michael and being on the board of the Discovery all this time. Even in her own very violent universe, she was desperately trying to save her daughter, her Michael, from the same fate as what originally happened to her. But, it still ended up being the same story. But she gets an A for effort. And then I realized as this episode went on, I'm like, oh, they're setting us up for the spin-off that was announced a few years ago that Michelle Yeoh would be headlining. It's either a Section 31 spin-off or just a spin-off where she's the main character and we see further adventures with her. So that is exactly, I believe, what they set up in this episode. And this was one of the best character exits I've ever seen in any TV show, at least in my opinion. And I've seen lots of TV over the years where characters have been either killed off or just written off the show for whatever reason. This was a great send-off, in my opinion. I loved the farewell speech that all the characters gave at the end, all of them summarizing their relationship and personal experiences with Philippa, and it all was amounted to the same thing. I really enjoyed that scene. And in the same way, it was the cast saying goodbye to Michelle Michelle Yeoh as well. Although I'm pretty sure behind the scenes they had a proper send-off. Great episode. Really liked it. I really enjoyed this two-parter, honestly, but especially this part. So what did you guys think of this episode? Personally, it's one of my new favorites now, and I hope you guys feel the same way. I'm really excited to see what happens with Michelle Yeoh in the future concerning Star Trek. Haven't heard anything in a while, but maybe we will now that this episode is aired. What do you guys think? What do you think the future holds for Michelle Yeoh? And how much did you like this episode? Or not like this episode? Let me know in the comments section. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your night. And Star Trek Discovery drops every new episode every Thursday on CBS All Access. Good night, everyone. And of course, until next time, live long and prosper.